Galway full back line. Vinnie Marr has been switched now in the last few seconds to pick up Joe Dean, so he's right corner back. It's John Feeney, the number 4, who is full back, and Liam Batten has gone to left corner back. Again, it's Cork's half back line there, and Derek Barrett in particular fouled after he played that ball away. He's been in the thick of the action twice so far, getting in valuable clearances. This is where he was booting the ball away there with the right boot, and coming in to collide with him was Alan Kearns. So it gives Joe Dean a first chance of a score in this match. Joe now very much an established senior star. 8 goals and 23 points in 4 games so far before today, and he's got the first of the match. Just a couple of minutes gone. First free for Joe Dean, first point for Cork. Martin Cullinan for Galway, down towards Mark Kearns. Got there well ahead of Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Kearns, a brother of Alan, young enough for under 21 again next year, and he's got the first point for Galway. It's Mark Kearns who gets it. Coming out here smartly is Fergal Healy. Dropping it across there again, it's Mark Kearns getting that favourable break. Now looking for the equaliser from 45 metres out, and he's put it over the bar. Sides are level. Galway's 2 points coming from play, Cork's 2 points coming from frees. This was a beautiful catch again by Mark Kearns, and indications early on that the Galway forwards are causing problems to the Cork backs. Up towards O'Connell, in towards Shawnee Farrell. Farrell having difficulty getting it away. Back down by Michael Healy. Lots of encouragement from the coaches on the sideline, as you hear from the sound effects. That's Colm Connaughton, who is playing at centre half forward. This to be taken by Mickey O'Connell. Rolling up the free carefully. That looks good. That's between the posts, it's over the bar, and it's the equaliser. Sides level for the second time. A very well delivered free by Mickey O'Connell, and it's Cork 3, Galway 3. That's nicely forward there by Colm Connaughton, and the backs grouping well. Good clearance under pressure there by Wayne Sherlock. Over towards Brian O'Keefe's corner. Keefe trying to steal a march, getting inside here. This is dangerous. Oh, it's the first goal of the match. Brian O'Keefe, a goal after 90 minutes. A significant breakthrough made by Cork, who lead by 1/4 to 3 points. Brian O'Keefe, who captained Cork in the 1995 All-Ireland Minor Final against Kilkenny, rockets this one into the back of the Galway net. As once again it's Alan Kearns taking it forward. Dan Murphy trying to stop them. It's Derek Barrett coming across here. Galway coming through. Alan Kearns. Broderick alongside him, shortening the grip on the stick, and it's over the bar. Alan Kearns' first point. So now the gap has been reduced to just 2 points. 1-4, that's 7 points to Galway's 5. Great ball down, great catch, taken once again by Neil Ronan this time. But Ronan trying to make some headway against tenacious defending by Michael Healy. It's into the gap to Mickey O'Connell. Quick look at the target, and it's over the bar. A third point now by Mickey O'Connell. One from a free, one from a 65, one from play, and Cork with a 1-goal advantage. And he's got a very slight hand injury, it seems, or Cork will be hoping it's slight. Terence Grogan's puck out, dropping into the middle of the field. He's the replacement goalkeeper for Nigel Murray, who apparently has something of an injury. Timmy McCarthy to Mickey O'Connell, and another very good shot by O'Connell. He's having a fine match. 4 points by O'Connell. Still concerned about the hand injury, but it's 1-6 to 5. Terence Grogan's puck out, varying it this time. Taken by Alan Kearns. They expect a big performance from Kearns. Kevin Broderick trying to steal inside. Galway have made a switch, by the way. They brought Alan Kearns out onto the 40 in a switch with Colm Connaughton. Connaughton had played full forward against Kilkenny in the semi-final of this series. That's Liam Madden. This is towards the aforementioned Mark Kearns. How will he do now out on the 40? He was doing quite well when decent ball was coming in at full forward level. Here's Eugene Cloonan, 45 metres out. And that's gone over. Cloonan's second point. The goal separating the teams once again. Cloonan, who burst on the scene at senior level almost as soon as he was straight out of minor, didn't play in the championship this year. Stalemate. Luke Mannix getting that ball outside to Mickey O'Connell again. When he gets free, it's quite deadly. He's having a wonderful match. And now he's got 5 points, a mix of points from play and points from frees. And Cork lead by 1-1. That ball just broke away outside to O'Connell. The marking is not good by Jeffrey Linsky. Again, some good play by Brian O'Keefe, but this time back there to help out is Fergal Healy towards Kevin Broderick's wing. We haven't seen much of Kevin Broderick. This is Alan Kearns, and the linesman on the far side, who is Pat Horan from Offaly, waving his flag furiously. Martin Cullinan will hit this one. Martin from Castlegar. Dropped in there. And the referee has given the signal, the end of 30 minutes. And it's Cork who go in with a 4-point lead, having had a light enough breeze at their backs for the first half. The all-important score in the match was a goal by Brian O'Keefe from Blackrock and Cork after 19 minutes, when he stole in beyond the defence and cracked home a beauty. And at half-time it's Cork 1-7, Galway 6 points. Michael Healy touches it down well. Good combined play there with Pádraig Walsh. David O'Sullivan coming out for that, not too sure where the ball was going. Here it comes, Dermot O'Shaughnessy outside to Eugene Cloonan, and here's a chance. Well saved by Donald Cusack. A great chance for Galway. They might well have done something there. The angle, in fairness to Eugene Cloonan, was tight enough, but the goalkeeping was superb by Donald Cusack. And that's away by Dermot O'Sullivan. Down towards Brian O'Keefe's corner. Going across here to cover off for them is Fergal Healy. And the referee is calling back the play. There was a wild pull there as Dermot O'Sullivan was trying to get that ball away, but this was a tremendous save. John Anderson beating Michael Healy to it. Down to Joe Dean. Vinnie Marr in the green helmet for Galway. Dean heading away on a solo run inside towards Timmy McCarthy. McCarthy low and hard, saved on the goal line. Terence Grogan making the save. Good clearance by the young goalkeeper, but only straight as far as Austin Walsh. Back to Mickey O'Connell, this one comes. O'Connell's shot is high, it's accurate, and it's over the bar. A man of the match type performance by Mickey O'Connell. He's made it 110 to 6 points, and that's his 6th point of this match. This the save a few minutes ago there by Terence Grogan. Ooh, difficult to hold, but he did well with Brian O'Keefe coming in on top of him. Meanwhile, it's Kevin Broderick. If anybody can inspire them, it's Broderick. Inside towards Alan Kearns. Stopped, however, here by Mark Prendergast. Prendergast with a huge clearance way downfield. Racing out for it here, but missing it completely was Liam Madden. It goes on to the goal scorer, Brian O'Keefe. O'Keefe getting inside, looking for the second one. And the whistle is sounded. It's stopped on the goal line by John Feeney. Watching this run again by Brian O'Keefe, an exciting young player going in there, and the referee seemed to have indicated that it's going to be a penalty for Cork. So O'Sullivan, senior captain this year, and that by virtue of Imo Killy's wonderful success and Cloyne's success in intermediate last year. Here's O'Sullivan, and it's stopped on the line. A great save. Shawnee Farrell's in after it. Out it comes towards Liam Madden, and the danger is averted. And now Dermot O'Sullivan has to race all the way back up the field again. This was a wonderful save at the other end, right on the goal line there. And it was the number 6, Michael Healy, who got it away. John Anderson letting that one run out there to Joe Dean. Vinnie Marr trying to close him, likewise Michael Healy. Fergal Healy coming out here to try and take it away from Austin Welsh. Out to Mickey O'Connell. What a match he's playing. That's beautifully high and radar-like over the bar and between the posts. 7 points for O'Connell. They've tried a combination of different players on him. It's Alan Kearns right now, but it's 112-7. Over the head, in towards the inside forward line. Eugene Cloonan coming across here. Nice diagonal run. Good style. Where will this end up? It's over the bar. That's a lovely point by Eugene Cloonan. Well, he has been keeping the rate of scoring going that Galway needed in the second half. Fergal Healy waiting. Man from Crockwell. Healy's now into midfield, where he's picking up Mickey O'Connell. Michael Healy in some trouble back there, needing assistance. Alan Kearns trying to float that ball away from danger. Timmy McCarthy closed him down. Kevin Broderick challenged by O'Connell. Back to McCarthy once again. Good hook by Broderick. Again Broderick. Good skill there, showing tenacity. Well, it's tenacity in the face of adversity as John Anderson comes onto that 45-metre line, hits the shot right-handed, and it drops over the bar. A first point in this match by John Anderson of Glen Rovers, and he's made it 113-9 points. Well, they were talking about this Cork team being something of a wonder team, and John Anderson part of that squad. Huge one inside there, breaks out to Mark Kerins, and that's a great deal better by the Galway forwards. Mark Kerins has got his third point. Remember, he got the first two from play. He's now made it 113-10 points. Timmy McCarthy gets in after this one, trying to take it away from Pádraig Walsh. Timmy McCarthy was the player who was expected to break through into the senior team for Cork in the last 12 months. It's taking a bit longer for him to make it. Cork have the free, and Joe Dean, who's already an established senior player, about to hit it as Pádraig Walsh goes back. Dean hitting it. It's gone in there. It drops down, and there's another chance of another goal, and it's scored once again by Brian O'Keefe. 5 minutes remain, and it's Cork's title. Not much doubt about it now. All of that coming from the free from Joe Dean that dropped in short, that was only batted out to the waiting Brian O'Keefe, and he hit that one in past Grogan and all the rest of them. In Nova went Sherlock in towards Eugene Cloonan, and he stopped, and the referee has spotted the push there by Diarmuid O'Sullivan. It's going to be a free from the 20-metre line, so surely Eugene Cloonan will try and blast this one into the back of the net. Just looking around. 5 on the goal line, and he is trying to breach that cover. Here comes Eugene Cloonan. He's belted it into the back of the net. A goal and 5 points for Eugene Cloonan, but it's come now with just under 3 minutes to go. It was really hit with power and precision off the post and into the back of the empty net. Martin Cullinan. Coming onto it here is Fergal Healy. Good ball inside towards Eugene Cloonan. Cloonan hand passing it outside to Fergal Healy to go for another goal, and they've got a chance here, and Mark Kerins has got it in, and Galway get another one through Mark Kerins. That's a goal and 3 points for Kerins, but it comes in the 30th minute, and what a shame, those 2 Galway goals did not come a great deal earlier. The goal from the free is followed up by a goal from play by Kerins. It closes the gap to 5 points, but it still looks to be Cork's title as the match is in injury time. Down into space, but there's nobody there waiting for it. Instead, it's Liam Madden. They watch from the side. The referee's whistle sounds, and Cork have won the All-Ireland Under-21 hurling title. Celebration time for Shawnee Farrell, for Austin Welsh and the rest of them. Heroes right down the field, I think, from Donal Cusack to Joe Dean. And the 2 goals coming by Brian O'Keefe. 2 late consolation goals for Galway, not quite enough. Cork's title for the 11th time by 2:15 to 2:10. It's 2 in a row for Cork. Dan Murphy, the captain. They say things are going bad in Cork hurling. They've won the National Hurling League, they've won the Minor All-Ireland, and now they're under-21 hurling champions as well.
Yes, a good win for Cork, an expected win for the Leesiders, and that under-21 team will surely lay the foundation for success in the senior ranks in the not-too-distant future. Now, our man of the match from that game was Mickey O'Connell, the Cork left-half forward. O'Connell's contribution from play and indeed from frees was vital for Cork's success this afternoon. OK, that's all for part one, but coming up after the break, we preview next Sunday's Bank of Ireland football final, and we speak to the Kildare manager Mick O'Dwyer and to Galway's John O'Mahony.
Jackets will save you a packet. That ain't no lie. Saving you energy is for you and me. Thanks to ESB. Saving energy. Sulston and the ESB.
In any game, there's only one winner. Berger Paints. Looking good. Lasting longer. You can win up to £10,000 instantly. Or spin the wheel for up to £500,000. Winning streak from the National Lottery. It's back. Crunchy almonds and amaretti, a river of fruits of the forest sorbet, and thick Magnum chocolate. New Magnum Ego from HB. Life is all about priorities. It was Saturday night, and the place was electric. The weather affected everyone that night.
Do you know in this light?
I don't want to know.
Where's your sense of romance?
It's out there with your sense of humour.
Where's me pint?
Looks like we could be here for the weekend.
And they say lightning never strikes twice.
You're welcome back. Well, it's been a long and sometimes arduous road to Croke Park for John O'Mahony's Galway. Gerard Canning now looks back on their progress to date.
Mayo began the year as Connacht champions, but it was Galway who denied their quest for a third consecutive title, and that after a close start. And it's Colin McElliman in there, having the chance to put this one in, but not quite finding the range there. Oh my goodness, what a pass out by McNamara, and it's a goal! MacDonald! Giddily challenged by a number of Galway players. David Brady was one of them. Again, a booming one forward here. Savage trying to get inside the cover. He's got support from Boyce. Here comes Derek Savage! Oh, it's a lovely goal! A beauty of a goal! So that's quite a comeback by Galway. They lead by 3 points, and they're under pressure with McDonald. And it's level! What a match! Kevin Walsh taking it at midfield. Good catch. Foul by David Brady. It was a difficult one for Joyce to take, but he does well to take it away from Cahill. And a lovely movement here. And John Fallon has put it over the bar. Galway
Galway's second match pitted John O'Mahony against his forward charges Leitrim. In truth, it was a stroll for the tribesmen.
Tomas Mannion, cornerback, sends it over the bar. John O'Mahony, who guided Leitrim for 4 years, I'm sure will be happy, but yet tinged with a touch of sadness to see his former team perform so poorly. And Galway will end this match perhaps with a goal, but saved on the line, but it's gone in.
The Connacht final saw Galway at home against Roscommon. The wides tally read Galway 17, Roscommon 4, and the final score was 11-all.
Lovely skill by Savage, lovely chip up, sweet ball in towards Jack Fallon. This is a nice move by Galway. If the finish is there, it is. This is Eddie Lohan going for his 4th point of the Connacht final. Hits it well. That's a very good free. Jack Fallon is available again. He goes for the punt. It's dropping, and Derek Thompson does very well. That's another good save, but his clearance is not good. Comes straight out to Sean O'Donnell, given the time to compose himself, and he puts it over the bar. Eddie Lohan taking this kick to put Roscommon in front. Roscommon in the yellow and gold, and the yellow and blue are now in front amazingly. The pressure is on Neil Finnegan. This to level the match with almost 69 minutes played. Finnegan hits it and puts it over the bar. Galway are level.
The replay was a match and a half. 11 points apiece again at the end of normal time, where the match had to be determined by an extra 30 minutes.
Punched through it, Jack Fallon. Going to take a shot and sending it over the bar. Good ball. Don Canella taking up a good position. Sidestepping but going the wrong way. That's the Galway way. Now back outside to Nigel Deneen. Here's the equaliser on its way. Corey Joyce twisting, trying to get away from Kieran Heenahan. Back outside to Jack Fallon. A ball for Derek Thompson. Trying to get away. He's robbed. Here's a chance. A goal. A goal for Galway. That surely will send them to Croke Park.
Derry were Galway's opponents in the All-Ireland semi-final, but the Connacht champions were far too slick for the completely out of sorts Ulstermen.
This one targeted there towards Eamon Burns. Again, the eager Beaver Galway men. Fergal Gavin, nice ball inside to John Fallon. Fallon galloping through. That's the first point from play. Here's Sean O'Donnell. Kicking truly. Has he got the accuracy? He certainly has. This ball is picked up here. Picked up well by Shea Walsh. On towards Cork Joyce. Joyce not even thinking about a goal. Happy with the point. His 7th of the match. This a chance to put a better gloss on the final picture. And it's in. All eyes on referee John Bannon. McNamara to take this kick out. The umpire checking on his watch. Deep in injury time. And it's Galway who are through to the All-Ireland football final.
Yes, Galway's route to their first football final since 1983. But during the week, I spoke to the Galway manager, John O'Mahony, as he prepared for his second trip as a manager to Croke Park on All-Ireland final day.
We had a few great years in Mayo, the late 80s. We won the Connacht Championship in 1988. Went to the All-Ireland and, you know, missed out Malala in 89. And I suppose that was a great experience. But I suppose it lit the ambition for, to continue both within Mayo, as we see. I mean, they had some valiant efforts since. And I suppose within myself from the management point of view to try and bring a team to the ultimate glory.
This is McHale. That's Jimmy Burke. Oh, he's missed it. And and it somehow goes over the goal. And Mayo have retained the title. It's they have taken a replay and extra time to do so. But it's the first time in 38 years that a Mayo side has retained the cup.
So let me take you on then to your involvement with Leitrim, and I suppose for those of us even outside the county, we got emotionally caught up in all this.
Yes, and I mean, I must say I did myself. I mean, it was a fantastic memory, and really fantastic memory of the Leitrim players and the Leitrim people, and the real passion that they had for football, and the real passion they had to make this big breakthrough. And they had been working very hard at it for a number of years, and I found myself there, and I found myself totally wrapped up in it and caught up in it, and it was a fantastic day in Hyde Park in 1994 when they actually won the Connacht Championship.
It's all over, and Leitrim are the Connacht champions, and John O'Mahony has done it. He did it with his native Mayo, and now he's done it with Leitrim. Just the second time the county has ever won the provincial title.
When you came in to take over the Galway job, what were the markers that you set out for yourself and the players?
Well, I think the markers really were as to what they wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve. And that's something that I cannot tell them what they want. They have to decide themselves. And if they decide what they want, we set out together in putting down very clearly what needs to be done to achieve that. And obviously the big ambition would have been, well, initially would be to get to Division 1 football in the National League. But the big ambition really was to beat Mayo in the first round, because that was the door to a summer campaign. It was the door to the Connacht semi-final as such, but it was the door to a summer campaign, and that's what was planned for over the winter.
Back outside to Jar Fallon, a ball for Derek Thompson. Trying to get away, he's robbed, here's a chance, a goal! A goal for Galway that surely will send them to Croke Park. John O'Mahony has done it for Mayo, he's done it for Leitrim, and he's done it for the tribesmen.
There's a similarity between yourself and Nick O'Dwyer in the sense that to get to this stage of the championship, you both had to put your own counties out. So obviously that was difficult.
Yes, it was a difficult campaign, I mean, in that sense, because you really have to divorce yourself from all this personal thing, because at the end of the day, the Galway's campaign this year wasn't about me, or, you know, it was, I was involved in if you like, directing it or whatever, but it was about what the players wanted, and at the end of the day, the All-Ireland next week is about what they want, and for them, it'll be them that'll be remembered in years to come, not me or anything else. So, it was difficult. I mean, the Mayo game in Castlebar would have been difficult in the aftermath and so on, and it is important. You know, Mayo had been tremendous champions of Connacht and had really, you know, were on the brink of winning the All-Ireland, and that was difficult for them. It was, you know, but they were tremendous champions, and they'll be back again. And then going on to Leitrim, I mean, yes. I had always been there, and in fact there more recently than with Mayo, and I found that difficult as well. But at the end of the day, it was about Galway and Leitrim in the Connacht Championship, and anything else was a sideshow.
Well, Galway football, John, is now just 70 minutes away from taking that Sam Maguire Cup, but your form so far has been a little bit up and down.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't have expected anything else, really, because what we were into here was, okay, there was a number of experienced players, but there was also a number of very young players just making their breakthrough, 2 or 3, I think, in their first championship, and, you know, 4 or 5 more just in their second championship. They're learning along the way. I knew always that was going to be the way, and we mentioned the game with Leitrim earlier on. I thought that really for us was a disadvantage. It was, Leitrim would have felt that it was a great disaster for them, but it certainly didn't help us in the sense that expectations of the team and of the team's ability after that went to a crazy height, an unrealistic height. And we always knew coming into the Connacht final that we were going to get a real game of it from Roscommon, as it turned out.
To push you on to the semi-final, I mean, you dismantled Derry on the day. A lot of people are wondering, are Galway that good, or Derry just maybe not up to it?
Well, certainly maybe Galway were better than people would have thought of them in the Connacht final maybe. But there would be a bit of both in it, in the sense that Derry on the day, it didn't happen for them. A lot of things went wrong for them. They were unlucky on a number of occasions. You know, so I think that it would be a bit of both. But I would always have been confident of Galway, you know, really giving Derry a good game, and if things went right on the day that we could edge it, and that's what we did at the end of the day. And, we now find ourselves against Kildare in the final.
Well, this game, clearly, it's a fascinating one for neutrals. I mean, I suppose they really don't know who to be up for most.
It should be a very brave person at the beginning of the year that would have predicted a Kildare-Galway final. And it's a novel pairing in that sense and so on. I suppose Kildare have been trying so hard in recent years and have been, cut back by Dublin and Meath and so on. And the fact that they have broken through all those barriers, beating the three previous All-Ireland champions, it puts them in the driving seat. But we don't mind that. We're working hard on our own side of things, and we'll be putting our best foot forward next Sunday.
Every manager obviously has his own style in terms of how his players deal with the media and so forth. Your style is you like to keep things nice and quiet, nice and low profile.
Yes, I think that everybody has a job to do coming up to an All-Ireland, and it's great in the first round and early on no one knows or notices what's happening, but everyone has a job to do, and I think it's important that everybody is allowed to get on with that job, whether it be the media or the players or the county boards or the supporters or whatever, and that they enjoy the experience, but that it's done in a structured way and that everyone gets what they need to do and allows everybody to focus on what they should, and from the players' point of view, that's playing the match.
Well, John, obviously you have the experience of the big match day in Croke Park in the past. How will you approach this now over the next week or so?
Well, I suppose having been there before, it's a help in the sense that you can see the pitfalls and whatever might, need to be avoided or need to be done, as it were. But certainly from a training point of view, I mean, some people would think that, or say to me now, well, you'll have a very busy week in the sense that you'll be training 5 nights before the All-Ireland. That won't be true, in fact. We have only one training session scheduled for this coming week. The main thing will be for myself included and all the management and the players obviously is rest and to get themselves in the proper frame of mind for the match, and we'll travel up on Saturday. From my point of view, I would have to be aware and to look and check to see that everybody is bearing up well, and that the calmness is there that needs to be there for the big day, because people perform better when everything is right in their surrounding environment.
And then the weekend itself, in terms of the preparation, Galway obviously will travel up the day before.
Yes, I mean, we'll meet early on the Saturday and we'll travel up in the way that we've travelled to all the matches by coach, and we'll go to our secret hideout and have a relaxing day on Saturday. We'll have a run out somewhere on Saturday evening and put the final tactical plans together, and have mass in the team hotel on the Sunday morning, and leave around lunchtime for Cork Park.
John O'Mahony from Ballahadreen, planning and hoping to bring the Sam Maguire Cup west of the Shannon for Connacht. Well, Paspalan and Colm O'Rourke. First of all, Colm, the Galway team has actually been named this evening. Shea Walsh is into the half-forward line from the start for the next day. How do you read that?
Well, Galway have had a bit of a problem with that position for most of the championship, and there's been a lot of chopping and changing. Shea Walsh has been coming on as a sub. He's more of a central player usually, a big strong man. I'd say John O'Mahony's a little bit worried about the fielding ability of the 3 big Kildare men around the middle of the field, Niall Buckley, Willie McCreary and Dermot Earley, and I'd say that's possibly an attempt to combat them in the air. I'm sure he'll be going in for kick-outs there. He also, of course, can be used at centre forward or full forward or midfield, so it gives Galway a wider range of options than maybe they would have had up to now.
Pat Spillane, Kildare have been installed as very, very firm favourites to this match. Now, you might have thought that they would be slight favourites, but I mean, they're money on.
Yeah, Kildare are 2-1 on favourites, Galway are 2-1 now. There are people thinking that this All-Ireland final is going to be a foregone conclusion, that Kildare are justifiably hot favourites. They're not. This is a very, very close All-Ireland final to call. Both have been impressive in the run-up. And now Galway, I think it's a good move by John O'Mahony to bring in Shea Walsh, because he's a ball winner, which they have lacked in the past. When they've played good football this year in the early stages against Mayo, I think they've played the best football of any team in the championship, because they use the long ball to telling effect. Their forwards, if they're given space, could go to town and could destroy any team. There's a slight question mark at times over the forward line. A lot of them are light, and I'm disappointed with the way that the corner forwards in particular started the season great against Mayo and Leitrim. That's Derek Savage and Niall Finnegan have been poor in the last games. It's going to be a very, very close one. It's one of the closest All-Ireland finals to call in recent times.
I suppose the other side of that column is particularly, say, in Niall Finnegan's case, who hasn't played particularly well this year. Others have taken it up, and I suppose that's the strength of any forward line.
Yeah, there has been a balance. I suppose, to me, the most impressive player that Galway have had has been Michael Donnellan. closely followed by Sean O'Dwyer. But Niall Finnegan, who had a very good year last year, seems to be lacking a little bit of confidence at the moment. But the full forward line with Derek Savage and Pádraig Joyce have been going very well, and I suppose a feature of the Galway forward line has been the number of left-footed players they have. In fact, it's a feature of the game as a whole next Sunday, because you have Kildare too with Pádraig Raven, Martin Lynch and Declan Kerrigan in their forward line, and Pádraig Brennan, their first choice sub-left-footed. It's an unusual thing to have so many left-footed forwards. But Jeff Fallon has come back to form at the right time. In the earlier Connacht games, you could see his rustiness, kicked a lot of wides, but when he was really needed in the extra time in the Connacht final, he really got going, and he kicked the sort of points that we were used to with him over the years.
I suppose Niall Finnegan would remind us, Pat, that if it wasn't for his equalising point down in Tuam, they wouldn't be in this All-Ireland final. Let's look at the Galway defence.
Galway defence, I mean, Martin McNamara, after we gave him a torrid time last year, has really recovered well and has been soundness personified this year in goals. The two cornerbacks, I've been impressed with them, particularly Tomas Mannion. His man-marking job on Joe Brawley was absolutely fantastic. Brawley taken off. The half-back line, the pair you can always rely on him, is very, very reliable. Mr. Consistency, and he can pop up with a point or two. I have question marks over Dively at centre-back. He wasn't exploited against Derry, but I think against Roscommon he was absolutely woeful where he was replaced after 20 minutes. I would consider him a weak link. I think Ray Silk is a little bit unsuited to the wing-back position. I thought he was in trouble for long spells against Eamon Burns against Derry. He's more a central player. He's a loose marker. But in fairness to them, they've played well as a unit. I mean, it's a battle next Sunday between two unbelievably fit teams and two very good footballing sides. I think we could be in for a great spectacle.
Ray Silk was quoted in a paper recently, Colin was saying, people say I'm not much good of a footballer, but I'm certainly lucky, because of course he's captain Cora Finn, already to an All-Ireland success in Galway's behalf.
Yes, and I suppose it's better to be born lucky than rich, and in Ray Silk's case, things are going his way. Maybe he'll cap it all next Sunday. But there has been problems there in that Galway back line up to now. They haven't come up against a really good forward line. I think that what has made the Galway team has been the two matches with Roscommon. If they came into the All-Ireland semi-final having had an easy passage through Connacht, as it looked at one time they would, then I think you would have had a different team. I think the two games of Roscommon brought them on a lot, give them a bit of belief and self-confidence, and also put their feet firmly back on the ground, because I think, as John O'Mahony pointed out, things could have been running a little bit wild with expectation in Galway, and I think people realise now that they have a team. Their style of football is good. They use a lot of first-time ball, and because they're giving quick ball to the forwards, there's always the possibility of them scoring goals, which is something you really couldn't say too much about Kildare. And that is, I think, the main feature, the fact that they can use the kick pass very well over 30-40 yards. And if we get good conditions like today, it would mean that Galway's style of football should reap dividends.
I wouldn't quite agree with Colin about scoring goals, because I think it's been one of their failing. Derek Savage scored a great goal against Mayo, as we saw. Against Leitrim, who they destroyed for most of the game, they got a lucky goal in the last minute. They created little or no goal scoring chances against Roscommon, bar a mishap from the Roscommon goalie. And against Derry, who they overwhelmed in the game, they created not one single goal scoring chance. So I mean, that's a disappointing tally from their point of view.
OK, well, in 30 seconds, Colin, to wrap up on Galway, the midfield pairing have been a revelation to me anyway this year.
Yes, I think a lot of people would have seen Kevin Walsh and Sean O'Donnell as a bit of a weak link in the team. And Sean O'Donnell has come on a lot. Kevin Walsh always had that ability and has been great potential, which was never really realised. And this year he seems to have settled down to play serious football. And I suppose he's been the linchpin there for Galway. Great power and stamina and strength and fielding ability, and has used the ball well. Sean O'Donnell has been a bit in and out, but again, against Derry, when he was needed, he produced the goods. So you couldn't really say that any longer that that's the weak part of their team.
Gentlemen, thank you for the moment. Well now, if Kildare could have planned their path to this year's final, well, they certainly wouldn't have chosen the route that they took. It involved overcoming the champions from the previous 3 years. No mean feat in anyone's book.
Kildare began their campaign against Dublin. In Mick O'Dwyer's first spell in charge, the Metropolitans were always the bogey side. But this time, Mick O'Dwyer's son was in the ranks of the Lilywhits. This is Dermot Harrington. And the Penny Christie's dispossessed. Cork Raven. Carol O'Dwyer looking for another point, and that's wonderful kicking. Cleary into challenge. Likewise, Anthony Rainbow and Niall Buckley. Darcy trying to steal a march, and Nelly Dalton once again. This looks a good one. It's over the ball. Izzy Fallon, top of the right right now, alongside Ian Doyle. He has the beating of it. Back to Ryan
was another close call, but this time a more assertive Kildare achieved a notable victory.
Eddie McCormack. Dermot Harrington struggling to keep up with him. And McCormack takes his second point. The Sarsfields Club in Newbridge, Niall Buckley to take this free. Hits it well. Hits it beautifully. It's a free for Dublin. Quickly taken, lobbing it in. There's a chance here, Dixon Doherty! Great goal!
In the Leinster semi-final, Kildare had much the better of things against Laois, leading by 4 points at half-time, ultimately winning by 11.
Martin Lynch again out in front of Michael Buggy, playing it into Niall Buckley on the charge again. The Kildare midfielder going through off his right boot, a lovely curling shot that's gone over, and that's a smashing point by Niall Buckley. Derek Conroy, he's trying hard to get their game together. Plays the ball down to David Sweeney, the full forward, whips it in to Dennis Lawler, who's gone charging through. Dennis Lawler with his right foot. Dennis Lawler, the scorer. Niall Buckley. Fine kick dropping right into the square, and it's gone in. It's a goal. Fine kick from Niall Buckley. William McCreary to Eddie McCormack. High ball upfield. Michael Buggy out front, but loses the ball. Declan Kerrigan going through. Kerrigan across to Pádraig Craven. Pádraig Craven loves the corner, and that surely is that now.
A ghost was laid to rest in the Leinster final. 42 years of heartbreak, to be precise. Meath beaten, and Kildare with their hands on the trophy.
This is Pádraig Craven. Good shoulder coming in there for Mark O'Reilly. Kildare still with it. Carol O'Dwyer challenged by Enda McManus. O'Dwyer kicking. He does it well, and he kicks it over the bar. All of a sudden it's Kildare who look a bit weary. This is divine. Here's another chance. It looks good, and it's gone over. There's only one between them. Who's got the courage now to dig really deep? It's going to take something special. Martin Lynch, the player, loose inside. Here it comes from Brian Murphy. It's a goal! Kildare score a goal! And it's Brian Murphy who's done it! Carol O'Dwyer belting it into space. Taken well by Eddie McCormack. Now they're all confident. Now they're champions. Did you ever think this day would come? If you're a Kildare fan, it has. Kildare are the champions. Leinster champions now for the 12th time. It's the first in 42 years.
Kildare were now quite at home in the big time, and they hardly get much bigger than the reigning All-Ireland champions Kerry. Micko against Paddy. Victory this time to the master.
Inside towards Carol Dwyer. Marking him this afternoon is Eamon Fitzmaurice. Again they try to turn inside. Beautiful ball, Carol Dwyer against his native county. Kicking, and he scores. And Kildare go in front. This is Monaghan. Fisting it judiciously ahead towards Donald Daly. In towards Mike Frank Russell. He's got his chance, and he's put it over the bar. Great catch. Ken Doyle coming forward. Good delivery towards Martin Lynch. That's a great ball. This should be it, and it's the equaliser. Martin Lynch's first point. Towards Mike Frank Russell. Good transfer back to the Kerry captain. They try to get within 3 points again of the challengers from Kildare. Glenn Wild showing great defence. Back to Darragh Kineda. Good ball across, dangerous. Two Kerry men there. Johnny Crowley kicking, and it's a goal! Tremendous energy being expended by players in both teams. Great skill as well. Inside towards Martin Lynch. Terrific second half as Lynch off balance kicks and scores! The referee whistles and it's all over! dethrone the champions and reach the All-Ireland final for the first time since 1935.
Well, it's certainly been a long time coming, hasn't it, for Kildare, and indeed for their manager Mick O'Dwyer, a man, of course, well used to success at this level, as the culmination of a dream that began in the early 90s when he first went to Kildare. Marty Morrissey spoke to him earlier this week.
Well, if you lived in Waterville, I suppose there was only one game to play there in my time. There wasn't any soccer, there wasn't any rugby. Even golf at that stage was a very minority sport in Waterville. There was a 9-hole golf course there, but very few of the local people played it at that time. But I suppose it came from my school days in Waterville. I went through some teachers there in Waterville. Donald Kennedy, West Kerry man, I think he's in Galway. I think maybe he has moved on to Dublin now. He was the man that introduced me there into the game, and I suppose lit the flame which continued on. Then we had another teacher who came along to St. Finian's School in Waterville, a fellow by the name of Sean Casey, another crazy man in football. But I think the man above all who really, I think, pushed me through to the Kerry Minors and really convinced me that I was the type of footballer that could make it from Waterville was Sean McCarthy. A marvellous man whose whole life was about football.
What attracted you to management initially?
Well, I wasn't attracted to management by any means, Marty. A man by the name of John McKenna was the man that really got me involved in the management scene. When I packed up playing football in 1974, I decided at that stage that I was going to have a leisurely life and see after my businesses in Waterville and what have you. I bought a boat actually, and I was going to do a bit of fishing. I bought a boat in 74, and midway through that summer, John McKenna came to Waterville and he said, "Mick, I need you," he said, "to train Kerry." I said, "Why do you need me?" He says, "You've been involved with Waterville and you've done great things with Waterville." We got to 3 county senior football finals with a little village, Waterville, where there's only a population of 300 people. And he said, "I think you have a fairly good record with your club." And so he said, "Would it be possible for you to come and train Kerry?" I didn't want to do it, so I said at the end anyway, after a lot of pressure, I said, "Fine, I'll give it a go for 1 year." And then I took over the team in 75, and it's history now. We went on that year to win an All-Ireland title at the end of that year. So it was John McKenna was the man that was the cause of getting me into the system of what I'm in at the present time.
And danger for Dublin there. The ball breaking loose on the wing. It's a goal! It's a goal by John Egan! Congratulations, Pat.
And in 75 we won that All-Ireland, coming from nowhere with a very young side. We struggled in 76 and 77. At that period they tried to get rid of me and they tried to get rid of John McKenna in Kerry. They failed actually, but we remained on, and in 78 then who arrived around only the bomber, as you mentioned there a minute ago. And I think that was the man that was missing, the link that was missing in our team to have made that team a great side. I mean, we had marvellous footballers, but we needed a big guy like the bomber. And the bomber was able to win, and he had marvellous vision. He was a great distributor of the ball, and I think he was the man that really made that team function at the end. And I think that's where that great side came from.
When critics speak of your style of football, they particularly concentrate on the short passing game that you've developed. What's your reaction to that sort of criticism?
I don't listen to anybody. I don't care what scribe they write. That's only one man's opinion anyway. I mean, all the older generation would much prefer to see the ball driven high in the air and some fella going up and catching it. Just looking at games, I was just, the last day Dermot Early caught some marvellous balls, as you know, in Croke Park, I think. But if you went through the statistics, he caught 4 balls in the air. I mean, Ogie Moran, in my opinion, was a marvellous footballer for Kerry. He'd play more ball in a given day than most players would. Declan Kerrigan played. How much ball did he play the last day? How many did he catch in the air? I mean, I think the whole thing is blown out of all proportions. People in the country, I think, are enjoying this game. I mean, the crowds that are following Kildare at the moment, they must be doing something right. There must be something in there. People must be satisfied with the game that's being played because they're coming to it. I think there's a rule change just after being brought in now, where they're stopping this off-the-ball stuff and all that type of stuff. And that's what we need in our game. We need the skillful players to be left express themselves. And I think that's happening at the present time now with the introduction of this new rule of letting, stopping players pulling and dragging off the ball. We don't need many changes in our game. And the big problem with our game, Marty, is there are too many changes. They're going to change again for the league now, just for change. I think games should be left alone for 2 or 3 years and just go as we're doing at the moment, I think we have a great game. And I'm not a big advocate of hand passing by any means. Maybe some of my teams might overdo it at times. I like the long ball as well. But there are times when you have to pass and there are times when you have to kick. But it's very hard to get the mix right. But we're moving in that direction. And Kildare, we're doing reasonably well with the system that we have at the moment. Sure, Jay, we have come from nowhere to an All-Ireland final. So, I mean, that's satisfying enough, isn't it?
Are you surprised that it's Galway you're playing in the All-Ireland final?
No, I'm not a bit surprised because Galway had good success at underage level. I saw a few of their minor teams there and a few of their under-21 teams. And I'll tell you one thing, they impressed me. They have a lot of good footballers. They have 6 very good forwards, they have 2 very good midfielders, and they have a good solid backline. A lot of people are writing off Galway. Gee, I think it's crazy. Any team that could play and beat Mayo in the Connacht Championship must be a good side, because Mayo had a good side and they were very, very unlucky that they didn't win in All-Ireland in the last 2 finals. I think they should have won one. And I mean, Galway came along and beat them. They didn't look that impressive against Roscommon, but maybe Roscommon were a lot better than people thought they were. So, but I mean, against Derry, Galway impressed me no end, because they played great football, they kicked some great scores, and they're a very good side. And I think this is going to be a ding-dong struggle the next day.
When you travel around the county, particularly Kildare town, it's awash with white. All that hype and excitement, is that going to make it more difficult for your players?
Well, I'm hoping there isn't any big pressure on them. I'm trying to keep them away from all that, but it's not easy. You know, a team that haven't been in an All-Ireland final for 70 years, and I think they've only won 2 Leinster championships in the meantime. I mean, it's only natural that there's going to be hype and all that. And I mean, most of those players have been around for the last 6 or 7 years. They're fairly well hardened, you know. They've played in a lot of championship football, and they've played a lot of football in Croke Park, with massive crowds in Croke Park. So, I mean, Croke Park is going to be nothing new to those guys, and they know what's required at the stage. In my opinion, we have played 4 All-Ireland finals this year. We've played Dublin, and then we played them in a replay. We played Laois, and then we played Meath in the Leinster final in Kerry. And in any other given year, you would say they'd be All-Ireland finals. So, I mean, we've been through the mill this year, and we've come through the hard way. Well, you know, the big problem will be trying to maintain that level of fitness and freshness now at this stage.
Can you analyse the match for us, Kildare against Galway?
Well, looking at both teams, I suppose Galway have built up a good side over the past few years. I think John O'Mahony's done a great job this year with Galway. He has given them that belief, and he has got them playing marvellous football. Playing the ball, I think, which is the most important thing about. And just to mention, I think we'll have a great footballing final here. I think both sides are going to play good, positive football, and I think that's very, very important. But John O'Mahony he has a great success. He has great success with club teams in Connacht. He had it with Mayo. He took Mayo to an All-Ireland final as well. So it's nothing new to John. So John knows well what he's about. Making comparisons between us, I mean, there is no comparisons to be made, to be honest. I mean, he's doing a job for Galway and doing a bloody good job, I can tell you, because I think this is a good Galway side. And my job is preparing Kildare and doing a good job with Kildare.
Describe for me, Mick, what next weekend is going to be like for you and the Kildare footballers, the weekend of the All-Ireland football final.
Well, I think the most important thing for Kildare above all other things is that we put up a good performance in this final. And of course, if we win it, it's going to be a big plus, as you know yourself. But I think we have achieved so much in the last 12, 15, 18 months since I came here. You know, we've played great football. There's a great hype in the county. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's a carnival. It's a carnival event all over the county. Everywhere you go, there's flags and everything. So, I mean, it has meant so much to Kildare and to the young people of Kildare. And I'm hoping that the follow-on now will be that a lot of young fellas will continue to play the game in Kildare and enjoy it.
You've been in so many All-Ireland finals. The weekend of an All-Ireland final is indeed very special. What's it going to be like, do you think, for you personally next weekend?
Well, it'll be no different than any of the other finals. The only difference here in Kildare, you see, they can stay in their homes and they can sleep in their own beds. And I think that's very, very important, you know. I mean, we get up here and then we get to the Johnstown Inn in the morning, and then we go in the bus into Croke Park, and that's what we've done all year for all the championship games that we've played in Croke Park. There's going to be no change. It's going to be the same routine, so there's going to be no difference. I mean, all the other ones we played in against Dublin, Meath and Kerry, they were all All-Ireland finals, in my opinion, to these players. So this will be no different.
Yes, Mick O'Dwyer hoping to make a shorter journey with Sam Maguire Cup this time around than he's been used to in the past. Pat Spillane, when you look at Kildare's CV in the Championship this year, I mean, it is mightily impressive.
Yeah, you can see why they are regarded as favourites. I mean, I think like Galway, the drawn game against Dublin brought them on a lot, and certainly once they got over Dublin, it was the monkey off their back. You know, it was a great psychological boost, and from then on, I mean, their record has been impressive. They've beaten the All-Ireland champions of the last 3 years. They play total football. They have 15 men get back behind the ball and defend, and the same in attack. They move the ball quickly. And this year they've added the long ball game into attack. Now, you've always criticised Kildare for overdoing the short passing. They're still doing defence. But this year they've been inclined to move the ball quickly and long into the attack. Their two imports have been very good. Brian Lacey looks like going to be the player of the championship, not bad for a cornerback, and of course Miko's son Carol has been a revelation. They're tremendously fit, and you know, all the hype and euphoria surrounding Kildare remind me of the emergence of Wexford and Clare in recent years, and you might say it's hype and it's euphoria and it's only amongst the supporters and it doesn't affect the team, but it does. It transcends itself down onto the field, and these players will be on a high, and Miko will really have them revved up on Sunday. They deserve to be favourites, but I wouldn't be rushing across to my bookies to take them on at 2-1 on.
Oh, well, Colin, I suppose they're on a high, as Pat said, is one thing. But Miko made an important point as well, which is that they are battle-hardened. I mean, they just haven't quite arrived at this stage of the Championship, just out of the blue. They've been there and thereabouts.
That's right, and I suppose the other important point is that in the past, Kildare teams often fell apart when they went behind. In every game this year, they were able to hold their heads. They kept very cool. They showed great composure, and they were able to battle back in several of the games when things seemed to be just going against them. Even in the first 10 minutes of the All-Ireland semi-final, Kerry seemed to be having much the better of it, but there was no panic. And Kildare have done that all year. They've ground teams down, mainly I think through their backline, which has kept the score down, so that Kildare have kept opposing teams down to 11 and 12 points, which is not that big a score, and even though the Kildare forwards haven't been taking that many chances, they haven't that much of a score to beat a lot of the time.
Oh, I suppose the other side of that, though, Pat Spillane, is that they're going to have to keep opposing players and teams down to that kind of score, because their own forward division doesn't seem capable of producing the big score.
They don't. I mean, on a consistent basis from play, only Eddie McCormick and Carol Dwyer look capable of scoring points. Now, their forwards only scored 6 points from play against Kerry. Now, looking back to that Kerry game, I mean, Kerry were very poor on the day. Kildare were much the better team. Yet at the end of the day, only 1 point separated them. So one can't get carried away with Kildare's performance on that day, on that basis, because the only thing is on their favour. I mean, they really have a disciplined defence, really good disciplined defence. Don't give away many frees. Their midfield probably had an advantage over the Galway fellas, because they're very mobile, and perhaps. I think, I mean, they have a feeling as well, like with Galway, Kildare created no goal-scoring chance against Kerry. Yet, I mean, I can't see Galway matching them in fitness and hunger. This is a hungry Kildare team that have been out of the limelight for so long, and I think it's a mission they're on, and it's a mission they'll achieve.
Well, I suppose Galway have a mission as well, Colin O'Rourke, that stretches back to the mid-60s.
Yes.
But if you look at Kildare's midfield, I mean, both of the two midfield players and the players in front of them and behind them, it's very impressive.
Yeah, well, I think that those central lines in the Kildare team are the best around. I think that's what's won them the game. Their half-back line has been very impressive all through. Their midfield has won against almost all opposition, except against Meath in the Leinster final, when John McDermott was the best midfielder on view. But yet, Kildare were able to win in enough other positions to make do with an ailing midfield. Their half-forward line, too, has been very good at actually getting the ball, maybe not so much at scoring. But when things were going wrong the last day against Kerry, Declan Kerrigan in particular won a lot of ball and laid it off very well. He's not going to score that much himself, but he sets up a lot of scoring chances for the inside forwards. And I think Martin Lynch too has improved as the championship has gone on, and he probably is one of the key players next Sunday.
If you look at, just to take the focus away, Pat, I suppose, from the players on the pitch at the moment to the players sitting on the bench, Galway seem to have a little bit more going for them in that line than Kildare do, if the master plan doesn't go quite right.
Well, to put a different angle at your question, if you get away from the players and look at the sideline and look at Miko, because the Miko factor is a big factor in this year's All-Ireland final. He's been involved in something like 17 All-Ireland finals as both a player and manager. He's a driven man, because he still believes that he has never got the credit of being the greatest manager of all time. People will say to him that you had the footballers and it was inevitable they'll win All-Ireland. I mean, what'll drive a guy of 60-something years of age that'll go 3 or 4 days a week from Waterville up the thing? he has a point to prove. These guys are on a mission, like I said. The one thing Dwyer as a manager will be doing, he won't be analysing the opposition, he won't be looking for weak links, he'll be concentrating on the positive. He will have those instilled into those Kildare boys the belief that they will win an All-Ireland.
And to wrap up, are Kildare going to win it?
Yeah, slightly. But I'm not going to, like I said, it's going to be a very close one to call. I think Kildare by a couple of points in what, as Mico said, I think will be a very good game of football from two teams who like to play football.
Well, that's what we all hope for. Colin O'Rourke, your choice.
Yeah, well, I think I'll have to give people in Kildare heart failure by going for them. People think in Kildare that I never went for them. Actually, I went for them to beat Laois this year, so it's not the first time. But I think it'll be a good open final. When two teams meet for the first time in a big game like this, there's often plenty of mistakes, but plenty of good open football as well. So I hope it's a good day, and I think Kildare will win.
All right, well, I suppose seeing that the panel are going for Kildare, I just reluctantly have to go to Galway then to balance it all up. Gentlemen, thank you very much. OK, now let's take confirmation of the results from Thurles this afternoon in the matches there. In the under-21 final, Cork defeated Galway by 215 to 210. And in the Masters final, Kilkenny defeated Tipperary by 211 to 110. Now, Sideline View will be savouring the atmosphere in Kildare and Galway as the excitement builds up for next Sunday's final, and that's on Network 2 next Friday.